Welcome back to In Your Neighborhood. I'm your host, Sharla Brown, and on today's show, we've been talking with the 55 Plus Center. My guests have been Twyla and Suzanne, who work in support services, telling us all about the great programs and services that happen over at the 55 Plus Center. Now, I'm curious as to if there's a wait list for any of the programs.
Unfortunately, we do have a wait list. Right now, we have approximately 60 people waiting for the Friendly Visiting Program. And over the years, unfortunately, we do pretty well with our volunteer base, but as I said, we're always looking for more people. Sometimes the wait list, though, people are looking for something very particular, a certain language that they speak, a certain activity, and sometimes location can be an issue as well.
Right.
But that's, yes, we're always trying to recruit new people to come on board with us.
And let's talk a little bit about that in terms of like what the expectations are if somebody is looking to volunteer, because sometimes people are maybe fearful because they're like, I'm not too sure if I have enough time, what the commitment is, you know, what's required of me. So maybe let's cover some of those things.
Right. Well, the volunteer comes in and has a bit of an orientation to our programs, fills in specific forms, and we can get them going fairly quickly. There is a screening process. We ask for 3 references and police records check that is completed. And once that is done, then we can get started.
Right.
I'd like to mention that we actually do cover the cost of the police records check.
Right, which that helps too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So they're not out of pocket.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? You're going into people's homes, so you just want to make sure that everybody's safe at the end of the day. And
Right.
absolutely.
And time commitment, usually it's once a week, and some people have a set day and time that they'll go. Some people will mix it up a little bit. So what's really nice about the program is the flexibility. You can really try and incorporate it into your week. And the time varies on the activities involved. Some people will just go in and have a chat, have a cup of coffee, that sort of thing. Other people will go in and play some cards, do maybe some walking, and or one lady they have a show that they watch every Tuesday night together.
Nice.
So it's a lot of different things. So
so it's companionship more than anything else. It's not like you're going in and it's not a personal support worker or any of that kind of stuff. It's the fact that it's companionship or an activity, play some cards, have some laughs, share some stories.
Because a lot of the people that we come in contact with they have a lot of the services in home with personal support workers, nursing, OTs, lots of different people involved. But what they're really lacking sometimes is that social support. And so social isolation is a big thing, and it's real in Thunder Bay. And so it's great that we can provide that for people.
Absolutely. It can get really lonely, especially if somebody's on their own, or maybe they don't have any family that's in the city, you know, to have that person that checks in. And
very much so.
Yeah, for sure. And is there training provided? Is it needed?
Yes.
We actually do training with our volunteers. We do a mandatory one every year, an annual training, and then what we're starting to do is quarterly. So we'll have special speakers come in, and if they have any needs that they've expressed to us through the year, we try to bring that speaker in so that they can get that type of training.
Great, that's great. And what about an age requirement? I think you were mentioning earlier that it was 18 and older.
Yeah.
So do you find that there's a lot of students that apply to want to do that? Like, I think that would be great in a lot of ways that, you know, just for the interaction, the conversations, things like that.
We have some difficulty with that, actually, only because the students there, a lot of them university, college, their schedules are so full, you know, with tests and assignments and such. And then a lot of them are from out of town. So when they come in, if they're with a senior and then they were to leave, it's almost like the person is going to suffer another loss. And as people age, they do suffer so many losses that it's difficult for us to match those people because we're worried about that. You know, if someone's going to stay in town or say they're from town, it's great. We've had a lot of wonderful students and students that have actually stayed on past, you know, once they graduate. So that type of thing works well. But the out of town students, it's just hard if they're going to leave.
Right.
you know, because the seniors and the older adults, they actually do take it to heart.
Oh, yeah.
And personally when somebody leaves.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's
for sure,
hard.
for sure.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that matching process. So, you know, is people filling out a form that kind of talks about your interests, and are you interviewing also the client to find out the things that they're looking for?
Right, so we do both. When a referral is made, myself or Twyla will go to the person's home just to get to know them a little bit and find out what their interests are, times that they'd like to have someone. Health require, you know, if they're not feeling well, we need to know if there's a certain condition that they might have, and just general information like that gives us a better idea of how to match someone up. With the volunteers, yes, they do fill in a volunteer registration form, and they can get that through the 55 Plus Center or on our city website, and that's on, and they can go through that and just make sure all the information is there.
Absolutely. So let's go back to some of the services. So is everything you mentioned free? Is everything that happens at the 55 and through the 55 Plus Center free, or is there some things that there's a fee for?
Just for our programs, we do have registered programs. Like if you're going to play pickleball and things like that, there is a fee.
Right.
For our programming, though, there isn't. So if you come to any of our workshops, there's no fee. Presentations that we put on, there's no fee. The clinics, like I said, the support groups, there's also no fee for that as well. Yeah.
And at the 55 Plus, there's a lot of daily activities that go on.
The drop-ins.
So the drop-ins and things, and I think it might be $2 still.
Yeah.
So it's
Phenomenal.
very reasonable.
Absolutely. And you talked about some like educational talks and workshops and things like that. What are some of these talks and workshops that happen?
So what we have, like I mentioned before, we had our active living workshops. So they talked about all different things in the community to stay active. Everything from, we had the conservation area come out to talk about where you could go walking. We had a chiropractor come in to tell you how to walk properly. Even one of our exhibitors, Stride, brought in shoes so that you could have proper footwear. Coming up, we have a chiropractor, Dr. Pastina, that's actually coming in every month, and he's going to talk about a different topic every month. And the first one, I believe, is, do you have tingly hands or feet? So if you have that, he'll talk to you about that and what could be causing it and how you could possibly work with that to stop that from happening for you.
Right, because I guess that's a natural part of aging, right? You get older and all of a sudden there's creaks and aches and pains and new things every day that you're just not too sure what's going on. So it's nice to have resources to help educate you.
Well,
for sure.
you know, we partner with a lot of different organizations as well, like the Northwest Local Health Integration Network. They're coming in to do a talk on how to get the most out of your healthcare appointment. So we'll partner with them, and those are also free. And that's coming up, I believe, in November. We're having another talk. So those partnerships happen with our programs as well, which is great.
Wonderful. And let's talk about any other partnerships in the community that you have. Is there any other city services or organizations where seniors can then, or 55 plus, can then go to access services?
We have our community programming, so not through ours, but through the 55 Plus Center, we actually have a community staff that they do the LU Walk. I believe is one of her community programs, and the Fab Group as well for ladies. I believe it's over 50 is that one, or 50, 55. So things like that are happening as well. We actually have a board at the center, and it's also on our website. If you're looking for something not to do at the 55 Plus Center, more out in the community, we have those programs as well.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to be right back with Twyla and Suzanne and talk more about the 55 Plus Center.